I'm here with Lonnie Hodge, who is leaving teaching now after how many years?
34 years in the
After
classroom.
34 years.
34 years in the classroom.
And what are you going to do?
Well, I'm going to devote 100% of the time to Culture Fish Media in the mainland.
What does Culture Fish Media do?
We do search engine marketing. We do online reputation management. We do pay for click, pay for performance ad campaigns. We do public relations campaigns for companies looking to enter China.
How do these companies need your help to enter China?
yeah. I don't think you should come to China and expect to do business in any way, shape, or form without somebody on the ground in China to give you a helping hand.
What's different about China?
Everything's different about China. I've lived in Asia 20 years of my life, and China is probably the most unique market in all of Asia. You've got Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou. Those are all distinct markets. The Northwest is a distinct market. Each one has their own dialect, their own tastes, their own way of doing business, and it's just good to have people on the ground, and people that know what's happening in each one of those markets.
What are the big mistakes that the foreign companies make coming in? I mean, there have been a lot of victims of China hubris.
I think the biggest mistake is coming in and thinking that is one relying on just a single China expert for what you're doing, and two is not having somebody Chinese on the ground working with it. We have like 14 Chinese interns that work with Culture Fish. Having people locally that are going to assist you, and the big mistake is thinking it's one market, and also thinking that it's this enormous market with 1 billion different customers. It really isn't 1 billion different customers. It's very select groups of customers contingent on what your product is or your service.
What has been the smartest international website or web service or even company going into China from the internet perspective?
I was talking with Napoleon Biggs a little bit earlier about that, and I've looked at a lot of companies and looked at their marketing strategies, and even though they're not in the number one position in terms of sourcing, I think that absolutely the best SEO I've seen and the best online marketing strategies and the best attempts to move ahead in the market have been with global sources. Those guys are incredible. They do an amazing job, and a lot of companies could emulate what they do. So.
Okay, well, arguably they've been based out of China for a long time, so arguably
Right.
they're an Alibaba competitor. They're not. It's not a foreign one, a distant foreign one coming in. Are there any others you'd highlight?
In terms of an online presence, right? I'm trying to think.
Not so many. A lot of failures.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of failures in the market, and there's a lot of startup companies right now. No, most of the ones I think have well, you look at PR Newswire, and they came out of the United States, and they've doubled their business every year, 100% growth every year for the last 3 years. That's pretty impressive, and a lot of what and a lot of that is based on, I think, a real China-centric view, a real energy to involve Chinese people in what they do, and also and now getting more and more involved on the internet. So it's pretty exciting.
Okay.
100% growth. Who would not want 100% growth every year for the company?
So what are your top tips for what not to do as a foreign company coming into China?
What not to do? What not to do is wow. I think what to do is better, but seriously.
I'm a journalist. I like to be negative.
Yeah. So what not?
And what are the classic mistakes? Like you said, thinking of it as one market.
Yeah, thinking of it as one market. Thinking that I heard a lot of people. I was on Seismic, which I know you do Seismic too, and I was listening to somebody say, "Gee, if we just made $1 off of every person in China," and I think that's a great fantasy too. Is thinking you're going to come over here and you're going to make huge amounts of dollars because there's a huge population, and I think you come over here making the mistake that again you can do broad-based marketing, and you can't. You need to look at where you're going to focus your marketing efforts, and I know well what that's about. And if you're going to do something in Guangzhou, that's going to take a Cantonese bent to whatever you're going to do. And you should have Cantonese people on the ground because Cantonese people like to do business with Cantonese people more than they do with Northerners. And Northerners the same way. And Beijing is this mellow, laid-back environment. You need to know that. If you don't know that and you don't expect that coming in, or if you go to Shanghai and you're not moving as fast as everybody else is moving, you're already behind the power curve. These guys they're moving fast, and you need to be sped up. It's kind of like Hong Kong on steroids.
So basically, what you're saying is the web might be the same, China from the exterior might be the same, but in fact, you have to really break down both when you're looking at China and the internet in China into the various markets of that vast continental-sized
and the internet isn't the same. I mean, you've got the portals are different. You've got some complications between communication between north and south, so you need to be aware of that. You need to be, if you're going to do that, you need to know you got to invest in redundancy in your servers, that you're going to have support elements in different parts of the country. It's a little more extensive than if you were going to go to the United States, where you've got kind of a unified system, like Akamai and those guys have done an incredible job, connecting the dots.
Right. So let's do a contrast. There's a unified internet. There's a unified culture. There's a unified language.
Yeah. Which is not here. Yeah. So it may come. It's getting better. But now you've got what 100. The estimates range from 130 to 170 million users. And that's even going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's just like even the infrastructure in the cities is putting a lot of pressure on existing services. And I'm not sure they're growing they're growing fast enough to keep up all the time. So you need to be aware of that too when you come in. That you're going to have to work around a lot of things, and a lot of things can be done initially, with bubble gum and Band-Aids. But it's going to get better. This is an amazing market, and you have to be here. And now's the time to be here. That's the other mistake you make is people are saying, well, we're not ready to move into the China market, or we're not sure we have the expertise, or we don't think there's enough money there yet right now. Now's the time to be planning to be in the Chinese market. Now's the time to lay the groundwork, or somebody else can take your place.
One last question. The name of your company, Culture Fish?
Culturefishmedia.com.
Why?
We like the idea of it goes with a Chinese idiom, like a fish to water, which means that you've got great alacrity at something, and the great skill at something, and for us it's. Our whole thing is about building cultural bridges. Everything we've done, the company was founded to be able to finance some of our corporate socially responsible projects, like the Dream Blog, blogodreams.com, and to help out and to create a positive image and positive communication between cultures. And so that's what we're about. We're a fish in cultural waters, and we help people. As corny as it sounds, we help people navigate, getting through this really tough to navigate water.
Okay, excellent. So it's introducing people to the culture of China and how to get on the internet in China.
Yeah, and in a positive way. I mean, we want everything that you do when you come here to be positive. We love China. Everybody that's involved in my company's been here for a while, or in some ways really deeply engaged here, and we wanted to have a good time. So do we.
Excellent. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks so much.